All right, in this video, we're going to talk about how to read analog electric meters, and specifically those situations where it's not clear whether a dial is pointing at a number exactly or whether or not you should round down that number. I think a really good analogy to start with is to think about a clock. Now, if we were to look at this clock, what time is it showing us? Is it showing us that it is 10:55 or 10:58, or is it showing us that it's 9:58? And I think probably you all know that it's showing 9:58. And the reason we know that is because while this arrow appears to be almost directly pointing at the 10, right? We'd look at the minute hand and we'd know that the minute hand is not quite to the 12, which means that this hand is still moving up towards the 10, and therefore it's still 9:58. It's very similar when we think about reading an analog electricity meter. So let's take a look. So in this meter, first of all, we start here. The first dial, we can round down to a 3 because we can see it's not quite at the 4. This next dial also is clearly kind of in the middle, so we can round it, actually round it down to the 0. Remember that this dial is turning this way. So it's coming around this way, so we round it down to the 0. Now this one is interesting. Is it pointing at the 8 or not? One thing we can do is we look to the right and we can see that this dial has passed the 0. This would be like similar to our clock example, having it past, the noon, right? So we know that this dial has gone all the way around this way, and so therefore, indeed, it has reached the 8. So this would be an 8. Now let's take a look at the next dial. This one is now turning this way. And we can see that it is almost to the 0. So this one we would actually round down to 9. It's funny how that made that 9. And now let's take a look at this one. Is this dial pointing at the 4? Well, we can actually see from this dial that, again, it is not quite gotten all the way around, right? Remember, this is traveling around this way, and it is almost there, but not quite. So in that case, this one is actually not quite to the 4, and so therefore we would round it down to the 3. All right, hope that helps.